And the Oscar for the greatest political speech at the 2021 Oscars is. Folks, this is a shocker. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah. Was that a phoned in enough of an applause? Because the whole Oscars was a phoned in full of shit.
Well, that's a kinder way of saying what I've had to say.
Yeah. No kidding, right?
Yeah, no
anyway,
kidding. And
hi, Mike.
hi, and welcome one and all on YouTube and in podcast land. You are listening to the Tangent Kings. Roll it. Welcome once again to the Tangent Kings podcast. I am, of course, your humble servant, G. Michael Francis, and I'm here with my partner in crime, my felon from another melon, Mr. Benks. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm just finishing up this succulent dinner. This meal. This succulent Chinese meal. Yeah, I'm having a good time.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're having a good time.
Yeah, happy to not be at work right now, I'll tell you that.
Amen to that. Yeah. I mean, I love and I hate my day job all at the same time.
You know, I'm of the persuasion that some people are meant to be entrepreneurs and some people need the structure and they need the framework of having like a 9-to-5 job. Some people just can't operate without that. And that's not a bad thing, but I'm a free spirit and I am looking forward to the day when I will no longer need any of that stuff. So until then, things are okay.
Well, to that, I'd like to quote Benedict XVI, who once said, and
Benedict Arnold.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
He's the guy that betrayed Russia in the Second World War, right?
You give me a headache, and I was actually just watching Turn. But no, I was quoting Pope Benedict XVI, who said in World Youth Day, and I cannot remember which year it was, but he said to a crowd, the world offers you comfort, but you're not made for comfort. You are made for greatness, and that applies to everybody.
I'll do you one better.
Uh-oh.
Money is a great servant, but a bad master.
That is true. That is true. C'est vrai, c'est vrai.
C'est la vie. I wonder if that's what Napoleon said right when he lost his empire. He's like, "C'est la vie." He didn't shoot himself, but
no, he died of stomach cancer.
A little case of maybe the British gave him a little indigestion.
Well, there is a conspiracy theory suggesting that he was actually poisoned.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
He should have never have betrayed Spain. Everything crumbled after that.
And it was probably a bad idea to invade Russia.
Yeah, but Napoleon didn't have Napoleon as a reference for maybe I shouldn't invade Russia. He's
True.
Like, hey, that sounds like a great idea. And he's like, oh no. And the Russians are like, oh yeah.
Yeah, but you'd figure a great military commander such as himself would have the common sense of looking at the distance between Paris and Moscow and realize that his supply lines were going to be stretched.
Which he would have. But you have to understand that when your ego is like bigger than the continental states of Europe, that you don't really notice those things sometimes.
That is true. That is true.
And also like a miraculous winter came around and like saved the Russians, and they backed up a lot. Mm-hmm. Intentionally, not like in the Soviet Union where they didn't intentionally back up. C'est la vie. What are we talking about tonight, Mike?
We are talking about that absolute dumpster fire, and that's putting it mildly, known as the 2021 Oscars. And boy, was it a dumpster fire.
I feel like that's the understatement of the century.
Oh boy, I am just getting warmed up. I mean, full disclaimer, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did catch a few strategic points.
Strategery.
And I also did get the viewing statistics.
What'd you find out, Mike?
Well, would you like to guess how many people actually tuned in to watch it?
No, I won't. Tell me, Mike.
It was like 9.85 million.
Wow, YouTube videos get more views than that.
I know, yeah, compared to last year, which was like, what, 21 million?
Well, they already were declining like a lot last few years, too.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely, because the Oscars and just that culture in general is just a complete dumpster fire.
Yeah, like.
And the way I actually described it,
pandering was awful.
Yeah, and actually the way I described it, which I was sort of joking when I said that's kinder than the description I had. Mm-hmm. My description was weirdo and leftist messiah fest.
Who is the? Who's the big? We should give an Oscar to like the biggest weirdo at the Oscars. We should have an Oscar for like we have an award ceremony for like the worst people of the like give raspberries out. We'll have Hershey's Kisses on like a pedestal. We'll glue it together and say this little tidbit award goes to so and so for being a total chungus.
You realize how tight that race is gonna be?
Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but I can imagine there's.
Especially in a culture where you got Robert De Niro, and I had already commented on this, but I'm gonna bring it up again, where he said, "Oh, I'll consider myself really lucky if I made $7 million this year."
He said that?
Yeah, he said it right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Wow, what a total chungus!
I mean, yeah, talk about tone deaf. People are worried about losing their job, losing their livelihood.
I haven't been able to understand Robert De Niro in like 20 years. I'm like, Rob, you gotta speak up. I watch every single one of his movies with subtitles. I don't understand what he's saying. The last line I remember him saying that I could understand was Casino, when he's just like, you can have the hammer and I'll break your knuckle. You can have the money and the hammer, or you can walk out of here. You can't have both. It's like, I'll just walk out of here. It was a good movie. So, have you seen Casino, Mike?
Actually, no. I actually haven't really been watching a lot of movies as of late.
That's a classic.
I mean, I understand it's an older movie, but
what's really good is if you watch Goodfellas and then watch Casino, because Casino it kind of feels like a sequel to Goodfellas almost.
Mm.
It really does. They're made back to back too, which is like it really feels like it, but it's a great film.
Yeah, I can only remember like two parts out of Goodfellas.
Which ones do you remember?
Off the top of my head, I remember. Now go get your shine box.
That was fun. What was the other one?
And the other one is when Joe Pesci gets walked into a room and doesn't come out.
Oh, when he gets whacked, right?
Yeah, when he gets whacked.
Yeah. That's what Goodfellas is like. It's almost as quotable as The Godfather. Speaking of The Godfather, I really should go watch that third film. I still haven't even seen Godfather Part 3.
If I want a good mafia movie, I'll just watch that one part out of Osmosis Jones. You knew exactly what I was talking about, didn't you?
Brother, today, nuts. Go bury him on it. Go bury him inside of a blackhead on this forehead. When we're done with you, it's gonna take a Swedish facialist and 15 washcloths to dig you out.
Sounds like a gas, baby. Bring it on.
I don't even understand why that, like, the whole thing wasn't an animated movie. Like, to this day, it's like, that's kind of a fun movie. But it's like, why would you watch? Like, Bill Murray's not a disgusting person, but like, boy, did they make, like, that was the first time I saw Bill Murray in a movie, and I'm like, why is this guy not funny at all? Like, I hate him. He was not funny, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's effort to make Bill Murray not funny.
Yeah. I don't know how they pulled that off. But
it's a skill. It's probably an acquired taste.
Oh, that's a weird skill for a writer to have.
Or a whole production crew.
And a full production crew.
guys, I've got this crazy idea. Pass the blunt. You see, we're gonna make Joe Pesci funny. It's like, oh man, that's gonna be hard.
No,
And then they
well,
made
yeah.
Home Alone. Well, Joe Pesci's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't take too much talent.
No, it doesn't. No, the Oscars were awful.
Well, yeah.
They've been awful, but they're like, holy crap, they was like cringe-worthy. Like, what's the one clip where the lady's like, we're so happy to be here, and we're busting this glass ceiling, and we're gonna howl like wolves, and she goes, ah!
You know, I actually forgot to put that first part in my show notes.
It's like they're trying to honor one of their friends who committed suicide, which is like, that's
Yep.
great, like good for
Yeah,
you.
it's
But then
great.
it's like,
And I actually have the clip right here. If you'll just bear with me for just a second.
Give this one to our wolf.
that woman definitely deserves an Oscar for that performance.
I mean, yeah, I can understand as an actor you're not really supposed to have inhibitions, but good Lord.
No, you're as an actor, you're supposed to be entertaining
Well, that too.
and watchable and believable.
Yeah,
An actor's job is like 70% of the job is convince you that they're not acting, and that's like, ah.
Yeah, but I mean, I can understand, like you said,
And what's with them, for example, like they dressed up like like they just got done with like some kind of cult convention. Like she's got these robes on. It's like, are you trying to like audition for the Supreme Court? Like, are you trying to be like someone in like a courtroom setting, or are you like are you gonna like use some Professor McGonagall use some spells on the audience to convince them that this show is somehow watchable?
I have no idea. All I know is this is high culture.
Oh, high culture, right?
Yeah, and it actually this clip actually reminded me of Frasier.
What scene from Frasier?
Yeah, it's when he was dating that artist.
Which one?
The new age one.
The new age artist.
Yeah. And no, she just starts howling at the moon.
Oh my god.
Not necessarily in that context, dude.
Well, no, but like apparently not, because he's like, oh, geez, she's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Smash and get her out of my house.
Well, anyway, the point being, and actually that's kind of what I liked about Frasier in general, because it's really the whole show is just a satire of high culture.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers Friends, but nobody talks about Frasier anymore.
Yeah, that's a pity. Yeah, but although I will be honest, back to Frances
Bacon.
No, the
Frances
lady we
Chan?
just saw. For whatever reason, I'm blanking on her name. Frances McDormand.
That's her name. You actually bothered to look up her name?
Yeah. Well, I just want to be accurate as possible.
Okay.
But
all right.
When I first saw that, when she first made the wolf howl, when I first saw the wolf howl, for whatever reason, at first I thought that was a high school thing.
I wonder if she forgot. I wonder if she thought she was at a furry convention.
But like you said, I can understand paying tribute to a fallen coworker. I really can. But boy, that was cringy. I mean, that was almost like the funeral scene out of My Fellow Americans.
I need more booze.
Believe me, I've come prepared tonight.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking Jim Beam Kentucky Straight Bourbon.
Yeah, it's from. Wait, but you live in Tennessee. Why aren't you? Why are you drinking something from Kentucky?
Because I told you Tennessee whiskey sucks.
Right.
Anyway.
In the words of Dr. Evil, right.
But thankfully,
Brad Stein's on. He's like, wow, these guys are really good. Oh, I made fun of Tennessee. I'm gone.
Well, it's okay because I live in Tennessee.
We should go visit his house.
Well, no.
First of all, yes, and high five that man.
Well, I mean, if he invites me, I might accept the invitation. But
I would just show up at his house and be like, Red Sign, here's $5,000 for being a good human being.
and
Also, here's another 10 grand for not being a communist. He's like, thanks, dude. Yeah.
and with all due respect, I believe that's what the Urban Dictionary would define as brown nosing.
Predator brown nose and brown shirt. Am I right? Oh, it's a reference to World War II, guys.
Well, duh. Anyway, moving on. And so, after all that weirdness, actually, technically, before there was just the typical leftist rhetoric from Mr. Arrow. I said something really clever this morning before coffee. What was it again?
A ludicrous parcel of driveling galoots, ma'am.
Okay, number one, thank you for misgendering me. Number two, yes.
And I'm just sitting there squabbling the neck like, hey, you guys should get around, Mr. Arrow. You're going to take that? You are? Okay. I'll just keep, no. I'll see myself off the ship. Thank you very much. And I'll be like, I don't know how to swab a deck. Why am I here? I freaking
You
love
wouldn't
Mr.
last
Arrow.
one day in the Navy.
Well, no, because all I have to do is be a backstabbing POS, and then somehow I fit right in.
Care to share on your personal experience?
Love you, boy, Jimbo, but, I want the treasure more than I love you, boy. And I'll just be in the background just holding a gun, be like, yeah, you tell him, John Silver. I can be the guy with the claws. You'd be like, cabin boy. I haven't
the
seen that
Spider
film in
Psycho.
yeah. I was so happy when the guy fell off into space. But personally, I mean, what's funny? I was, speaking of Treasure Planet, I was on my way back from South Dakota with my ex, not my ex at the time, but we were dating then. And we're headed back. And we were talking because we both saw Treasure Planet, and I'm like, I like the film a lot, and there's moments I like about it, but it feels like it just kind of peters off and kind of goes into meh territory at the end. And I'm like, it's fun, and I would rewatch it, but it feels like it's missing something. Like the technology's really cool. The guns are really, really cool if you ever pay attention to those. The ships are cool. The setting is so awesome, but it just feels like it's missing something. There's a piece of it that's not there. So we were talking with her. I'm like, well, what could we do to change the script, right? How do we change the script? And we got about the first, we split it into 3 acts, and I said, let's make it, let's do that. And then and we basically worked up the first act, and then we kind of ran out of steam, and I'm just like, now what do we do with it? But yeah, it's a fantastic film. It's a fantastic film. Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe make it PG-13 and actually have a shootout would be pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I got lasered, but the lasers don't do anything unless I'm a third-party character. So that's how it goes.
Indeed. But anyway, yeah, like I said, you get the typical leftist rhetoric of the day coming from the Oscars. Mm-hmm. They always have to mess with the message of their times. Mm-hmm. And particularly this one from Regina King, and I'll just play it for you here.
Can we pause it for a second? Why does the audience look like it's the set for a Coruscant bar from Star Wars?
I have no idea.
It looks like Star Wars. This is prequel terror. She looks like she's dressed to go to the Senate, dude. She's like, hi, my name is Regina King, and I want to talk about how the Trade Federation did nothing wrong.
Well, you put some long sleeves on her, and she is the Senate.
I'm the Senate.
Anyway, moving on.
Year, and we are still smack dab in the middle of it. We are mourning the loss of so many, and I have to be honest, if things had gone differently this past week in Minneapolis, I might have traded in my heels for marching boots.
Okay, yep.
Oh, continue. Oh, I was gonna say. Okay, anyway, so yeah, no, I'm like, wow, this someone is. I definitely don't. Why do they put these people on these shows?
I don't know, but
Zero charisma.
I mean, picture, if you will, if the trial had gone the other way.
Yeah.
Like if Derek Chauvin was fully acquitted,
Mhm.
and someone like John Voight went up there and said that exact same line,
Mm-hmm.
could you imagine the firestorm that would have followed that?
Well, right, because with communist leftism or Marxist ethics, it's not a matter. It's the appearance of ethics, right? There's an appearance of propriety of politeness. There's an appearance of morality that's the same standards held to everyone. But the reality is that it's rules that apply to the cult don't apply to the cult. The rules only apply to other people. The rules only apply to their political enemies. They only put rules on their political enemies. They themselves don't have rules. They themselves will defend their own and don't have to even. They worship power so much to the degree that they don't care if they follow their own playbook or not. It's a playbook that has gotten them what they've wanted.
Yeah, because when you get rid of the God and put in the party, we are perfection.
It's not, but it goes a little bit deeper than that too, because that's a start. But it's like it goes a little deeper because what it says is that the whole worship of power is just to basically make this arbitrary thing. Like I can make you jump through whatever hoops I want you to jump through, and I don't have to follow any of those rules. It's kind of funny how people point out this hypocrisy they've been pointing out for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And, there's not an uproar about it because obviously there's not an uproar because I think people believe, well, because my side's doing it, it's okay. And it's like, no, it's not okay. Also get off the stage and learn how to act. That's how it goes.
Yeah,
So,
it is indeed.
So let's not watch any more Regina King because I can't. It hurts my soul.
Believe me, it hurts mine too.
What else we got, Mike? What was the other cringe? So we talked about werewolf chick at the furry convention.
Well, speaking of the furry chick from the furry convention,
God!
See if you can make any sense out of this speech.
No words.
She looks like Palpatine
Oh,
without
wait,
a
hold
hood
on.
on. She seriously looks like Palpatine without a hood on. I'm dead serious. She's haven't got the haircut.
That is true. Now shut up and let her talk.
And another thing.
Words. My voice is in my sword. We know the sword is our work. And I like work. Thank you for knowing that.
Does she have some kind of autism? Because she's acting like she's got some autism. Like, no joke, actually. It's like...
I don't know, honestly. All I know is it's like, what?
I'll absolutely go there. She's sitting there like a robot, like, I don't know how to speak words of the English language.
I mean, to be fair, it could be a case of she was caught completely off guard. She wasn't expecting to win anything and just didn't have anything prepared. From Cap, how much I hate impromptu speeches.
Oh, that's a shame. I love them.
Yeah, especially the one I gave about whether pet rabbits or dogs are better.
Oh, how did that one go?
I thought you were there for that one.
No, there's a lot of CAP I don't remember. So I remember the one where they at CAP and this as well. He'll the time where they're just like, okay, we're given the 3 or 4 flights speech about you're abducted by aliens and you have to basically give the aliens a speech about what Civil Air Patrol is, and otherwise they're going to feed you to the horrible Trombolian monster, which is basically the Rancor from episode 6. And I think our group was like the first or second one, and everyone's like, Jake should do it. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I was like, I didn't really know what the intent of the exercise was at the time. And I'm like, okay, I don't know.
Creative thinking and thinking on your toes.
So I was just like,
I should know. I was your flight sergeant.
Yeah. And I pity your job. And and so I'm just like, well, F this. I'm going to make, because I kind of knew what the intent was, but it's like, I want to make this interesting and enjoyable. So I just told a bunch of jokes, and they killed. Those jokes killed. And I'm like, I didn't think they were that funny, but all right, that's fantastic. Thank you, people. Thank you. And then I ended the speech with like, yes, and we shall inherit this land for the people. And we are very vicious soldiers from Earth called cadets, and We'll harm you if you don't return us. Also, try our cookies while you're on Earth. Please don't kill us.
Yes, I actually
Sincerely,
remember that.
Civil Air Patrol. Everyone ate that up, and I'm like, I was so surprised how well any of that landed. I'm thinking it's just, this is gonna bomb. All this is gonna bomb. I have no idea what I'm even gonna say. I remember 3 bullet points from this PowerPoint that we just wrote and whatever. And then we went on, and it was like, oh, I killed Great Fantastic. And then there. I don't know if he was with our
I
group.
would refrain from names, though, dude.
You could bleep it.
Yep.
And he's doing his thing.
You were just making my job so hard.
I am. And I'm also entertaining as heck. And anyway, and then the other people gave their speech and they did a great job. But I was like, for not knowing how anything that we were prepared for to do, that was pretty fun. So, Civil Air Patrol. And you were talking about something else, and I don't remember what it was now.
My point was she just may have been caught off guard. And, just some people hate making impromptu speeches like me.
Yeah.
But even I could rattle off something a little bit more coherent than that.
Well, you actually know how to give a speech, and you probably would have been like,
Well,
the Oscars. I mean, it's just like you just be.
with
get up
me, it's
there
hit or miss.
You don't give yourself enough credit. You gotta focus on. You have to focus on the good things you do, not the things that you don't do well.
True that. But
it was cringe. I mean, obviously she's not prepared, but the problem with this woman is that not only does she look like she's dressed like a psychopath / cultist serial killer Emperor Palpatine.
I was gonna say / the Senate.
Dude, I am the Senate. But not only is she dressed like that, right? She's sitting there like she's acting really pretentious, like I'm so cool and I'm so awesome and I'm so.
That's Hollywood in general.
I know, but her specifically, and who I'm fixated on, she's sitting there just like, oh wow, I'm so awesome and stuff, and my sword is important, but I totally don't want to kill people, but my sword is my work because I want to beat my political opposition to death with my work. And it's like, oh great, thanks, don't care, turn off, bye.
Well, not that any of us were really tuned in the first place.
We're not, but no, I'm definitely not.
Incidentally, did you hear what the venue was?
No, where was it?
Los Angeles Union Station.
Where the heck is that?
In Los Angeles, it's the Amtrak station.
Oh my God. LA Union Station. Why the heck was it there?
I have no idea. I'm just thinking of all places. An Amtrak station?
It's pretty, but it looks like a church. Like, I'll screen share this real quick.
Oh, hold on. I gotta give you the power.
Give me the power!
You have the power!
I've got the power. Okay, nope, that's my second screen. This one right here, share screen. Yeah, I'm just looking at this and it's like, ooh, pretty lady, but no, thank you. It looks like a church. This legitimately looks like a church. It's a beautiful building, but just like... How big is this venue?
Obviously big enough to hold the Oscars.
Apparently. Okay, I'm going to search Oscars 2021. Did all, like the whole Academy just say, dude, we should like have like 21. That's not it. It's weird. Okay, look at these pretty venues, and none of them are like. Anyway.
It'll probably come in later.
Stop share. Okay. You don't need to know anything that I have on my computer.
You say just after screen sharing.
Of course, yeah. It's like, wow, I wonder what is that? The still small voice of conscience? That sounds illicit. Thank you, Sarah. You're welcome. Took you 20 minutes and we warmed you up. Woo! All right, next joke. All right, what's next? What else can we rip apart?
Well, this one I don't want to rip apart.
What?
I think this is the closest thing to a sane comment. The whole thing. From what I've seen.
Okay.
And let me turn on screen share before I forget.
Okay.
But yeah, this is Tyler Perry giving his speech.
Tyler Perry's actually funny though.
Yeah, no, and you know what? I like his speech.
My mother taught me to refuse hate. She taught me to refuse blanket judgment. And
Yay.
in this time, and with all of the internet and social media and algorithms and everything that wants us to think a certain way, the 24-hour news cycle, it is my hope that all of us would teach our kids, and not only to remember, just refuse hate. Don't hate anybody. I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LBGTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. I refuse to hate someone because they are Asian. I would hope that we would refuse hate.
Yeah, and you heard what I heard, right, with the applause?
Yeah.
As soon as he said, I refuse to hate someone because they're a police officer, like, yay! What did he just say?
Yep.
I mean, you see all this backlash on Twitter.
They applaud like, yay! Yay! He said, "Don't hate Mexicans." Yay! Wait. Oh, we're supposed to hate the cops. Oh.
Yeah,
we can't applaud now.
Which is funny because I see all the backlash on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube.
You breathe and there's backlash on Twitter.
Exactly. I wanted to flip into French, but I had a brain fart at the last moment.
Should have gone with it in anyways. Saw how it turned out.
Yeah, but in any case, all the backlash kind of reminded me of Tiny Mouse from McClintock. And yeah, just let me play the clip first, and then I'll sort of go into it. Back in the day.
20 years ago, you thought so too, Mr. Douglas.
What'd she say?
20 years ago, you thought so too, Mr. Douglas.
She's like, I smell bullcrap here.
Exactly. Like 20 years ago, you guys were, you had some strange ideas, but you were still sort of praising the cops.
I'm pretty sure, well, because the cops were on their side then. If the police were just mindless, thuggish enforcers for a political party, as their political party, they would never criticize them ever.
But you still had people who would say, offer some reverence for 9/11 heroes, the guys who ran into the World Trade Center.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just vitriol to anybody who wears a badge, even if it's like one of those little toy badges that you give to kids.
Right. Well, they have to. They're trying to demonize cops to the degree that the cops will not enforce the law, and if they won't enforce the law, they're stopping these activists and these leftists from breaking the law. They're in a position where they're being attacked, so that leftists can commit as many crimes as they want and do whatever they want. They want free reign to do what they want. They don't want to be any kind of accountability. That's what's going to happen. They're going to have free reigns of these major state capital and federal capital streets, that they have the ability to do what they want. They want to riot on demand, but be the only one allowed on the street. Because it's not even a matter of, we want for anyone to have the right to riot. And it's like, I want to riot and I want to destroy things and I want to burn down buildings and I don't want anyone else to have that. And it's like, no, screw you. It's funny. I drove this past weekend I had off. Because as you know, I'm off during the week instead of on the weekends because I work retail hours. I drove by Brooklyn Center and where Dante Wright was shot. And you know what they've erected in its place at I think it's his house. They had a memorial there. And you know what it was? A gigantic black communist fist made out of cast iron and like tons of flowers and candles and stuff like that. I sat there and prayed over it, but not the positive kind of praying. I asked God to curse it. I actually did. I'll completely say it. I asked God to curse that because of what that represents. Because it's not a matter of honoring someone who's shot. It's that you're honoring somebody who is a bad person, and the cause that's around it was frankly immoral. And you're using this for the work of the kingdom of darkness. So I did that. And I'm happy that I did that, but I also found out something else that I'm listening to as I was driving away. I'm like, this is actually less than 6 minutes This is within walking distance of where I used to live with my mom, and maybe like a 10-minute drive from where I lived after that in Brooklyn Park. So I'm just like, this is almost, I mean, I grew up right around this area. So I was just like, this is basically in my backyard. Not exactly, but it's like, this is, I used to drive around here all the time. So,
Well, I must be remembering something funny because the way I remember it was, you had Brooklyn Park, Crystal, and then Brooklyn Center.
So you know where the Crystal Airport is?
That's right. Yes, I know where the Crystal Airport is.
So
I grew up right off of runway 32.
Right. So one side of Crystal Airport is in Brooklyn Center. That's by a Shell gas station. So here's the Crystal Airport. Here's a fence. So basically what happens is that you drive over this overpass bridge. You keep driving about 3 blocks. You have low-income housing on the right. Very dilapidated. You got some businesses on the left. You keep driving to this fork in the road where you see the sign that goes left and right. The Crystal Airport is straight ahead. You take a left, and that's where Dante Wright's memorial was.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Was that Zane Avenue?
Actually, it was. Yeah, it's on Zane Avenue. You keep following.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about now.
Yeah, it's basically the end of Zane Avenue.
Yeah, I actually used to take that road to go to my aunt's.
Right. So obviously, for posterity's sake, I'm not trying to be a dick about someone that got shot, obviously, but if the cause that's around it results in organized, cruel chaos that puts people in a state of terror and fear and is effectively just domestic terrorism, I don't support that, and that is not a good cause. And communism, in whatever form it is not a good cause. It's an immoral system.
Or its watered down little brother called socialism.
Or if you had a little nationalism to it, then you get the NAZI party.
Which technically is not the proper name.
National.
Let me put it this way: just a little history fun fact to throw in there. Everybody says the Nazi Party or Nazi Germany. That word, the word Nazi, was actually a derogatory term even in Nazi Germany.
Really?
Yeah, like Hitler actually hated that word, which is why. And the movie Valkyrie. There's one thing about that movie I liked from a historical nut standpoint, is that when they were referring to the party or the ideology in a derogatory sense, they would use the word Nazi.
Really?
But if either Hitler or Goebbels were speaking, and they were speaking of it in a positive light as either Goebbels or Hitler, they would say either National Socialist or National Socialism.
Yeah, that's how they refer to it. That's how they refer to it in Downfall, I believe, too.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Hitler, none of the Nazi elite used that word.
That's really interesting.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I think you could actually be shot for saying that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But anyway, just a fun little factoid.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was thinking about not the party, but I was thinking about let's see, what was it? Not the party. Well, there's a haunting line from Downfall, the film in 2004, where this woman, and I'm surprised this is not necessarily hasn't been talked about more, but this was this one line that this one particular character had that really haunted me, that stayed with me for many, 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 many years after that. And then she'd said she was freaking out and she was panicked and she was saying, just shaking her head, crying and saying, I never want my kids to grow up in a world without National Socialism. And I can't allow my kids to grow up in that world. And so
I think that was Magda Goebbels.
Yeah. And so she's sitting there just like, I would rather die and kill my own children than allow them to live in a world that isn't part of this cult. And I'm
yep,
like,
that was Magda Goebbels.
What an evil, evil, disgusting woman.
What an evil, disgusting ideology.
Amen.
Which
why do we always say amen? Why don't we ever go on to like the next one, B men or C men? It's always amen. The best of the best for God.
Well, right. First of all, the last of that is a medical term.
Z men. Oh, I get what you said.
I'm probably gonna edit that out. But
Come on, it's on the nose. You're not talking about Navy sailors. Come on, man.
okay.
Just say that's what you were.
Anyway, back on topic. I think we've explored that tangent well enough.
Do it. You're just upset your wife's
So
gonna
we were
watch this.
talking about reactions to sorry, I'm Tyler Perry's comments, and this one struck me as particularly interesting. Right here from Kathleen Newman Bremang.
Who?
I don't know. Dude, I don't know half these people.
Newman Bremang. Okay, no, they're not an oppressed group. No one hates the police because of undue prejudice. It's because they engage in state-sanctioned violence against all groups. Tyler Perry said we shouldn't hate. Okay, so here's the problem. She's presupposing her Marxist worldview on this. She's saying that my assumption that I'm going to put in here without an argument is basically that the Marxist worldview is true. And she's going to insist and say the police are an oppressor group and we must hate them. And she's criticizing them, saying that they're using state-approved terrorism and state-approved.
When one, they control the state. That is
Right.
to say, the left now controls the state.
Right. Which is just like the party you're supporting that's supposed to support BLM or your group is the one running the show. So it's kind of funny how it's almost like it's funny how some people on Twitter, it's almost like they're getting kind of close to like punching through this veil. Like, wait a minute, all the states that do all these violence against minorities, which is bad, but why is it? Oh, they're all Democrat controlled. Like, that's exactly the point. I'm not saying that Republicans get a pass, but it's like Democrats are the egregious example, and you can't just say, well, there's corruption on both sides. Like, stop deflecting, dude. You're not wrong, but stop deflecting criticism from the Dems.
Yeah, like you used, like you said, I think it was last week's episode with the abusive parent example. You need to stay here because you're family. But
Gunpoint.
Exactly. But I saw that, and my first thought was, wisely did St. Paul write that one should never let the sun set on their anger.
What is I heard his brother. He has a brother. No, it wasn't his brother. It's his sister, Minnie. She said something similar to that too.
Wait, who did?
Paul, Minnie. What was her last name? Minnie. Minneapolis. I think that's her name. Appolis. Yeah, is St. Paul and Minneapolis. Yeah, she's this lesser known Greek figure. And that's the part of the show where Jake breaks Mike.
No, the bourbon has pretty much broken me at this point.
The Oscars already broke me. You just pushed me over the edge.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Just watching all this crap from the Oscars has already broken me to bits.
How we doing on time, Mike? I think we're probably running out.
No. We still got quite a bit.
Do we?
Yeah, dude. We went through that quite quickly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're sitting at, I think, about 40 minutes.
Oh, man. We could cut our discussion of this out, obviously, but just like, I feel like we're kind of, personally on my end, I feel like we're kind of at like almost at the end of the, like, do we have any more to talk about?
You know what? Not that I have in my notes, but I was going to say, until you burst in with that comment about Minneapolis.
You're welcome. I'm pretty proud of that comment. I'm not going to lie.
But my point is, to never
when I visit you guys, I'll be like, hey, Mike, how's it going? Hey, Benks, how's it going? Oh, hey, Jake. And then she's going to be sitting there staring at me like this. I'm like, hi, Liz. And she'd be like, you made that awful pun about the Twin Cities in Minnesota. I'm like, oh, you didn't like that? No, it was hilarious. It was just awful too. RB, what? What is, I don't read Mike handwriting.
Supposed to say RBF bingo.
Oh, yay. 3 cheers for feeling sorry for ourselves. Hip, hip, boo. Hip, hip, boo. Hip, hip, boo, you stink.
Are you quite finished?
Yes.
Thank you. Because as I was saying...
Just-
Lord,
Lord have mercy.
please dismiss thy servant. Anyway,
Father, into your hands
I commend my
my
spirit,
sanity.
or lack thereof.
Welcome to 2021. We all gave that up years ago. We're all mad in here. We all float down here.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't quite get that reference, but then you said the other half. So, oh, now I get it.
There you go.
Yeah, we all float down here. Anyway, but as I was saying, St. Paul wrote, "Never let the sun set on your anger," because anger, if left unchecked, always breeds hatred, which in turn always breeds violence. Look at the Holocaust.
Mhm.
You started with a book, Mein Kampf. Now, any sane person will pick this up, look through it, and say, "This is stupid." 6 million lives because of that book, because of the man that wrote that book. And then not only that, but the Holodomor. Have you heard of the Holodomor?
No, but I have heard of the Hollow Point de Mort.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. The Holodomor basically was the Holocaust. Only instead of Hitler, you had Stalin. And instead of Jews, Gypsies, Catholics, you had Ukrainians. And that was a lot more people.
You know, I just realized
But
I'd look so much more handsome if I had an eye patch.
we are talking about insanity here, not your fashion sense.
Right? It's insanity wearing this lovely scarf with this shirt. I put on, it'd be really funny. I have like the white wig Danny DeVito put on in Always Sunny, and like when he's pretending to be an art gallery critic, he's like, Manglo Gablogian, hate, it sucks, derivative. Oh my God, what is that? He's like, what is what? That, the air conditioning unit? Yeah, we're all like air conditioning units, just recycling air. And then they cut the scene.
Yeah, and
Did you
I
run
bet
out
I
of
know
whiskey?
why, because another second you see him going. Anyway.
Don't mind if I do.
But anyway, that's pretty much my point. But you had a story, and we're shifting away from the Oscars and the insanity now. So yes, I know I am the absolute king of transitions, but
You're the transition king? I thought I knew you. That's what you said! That's what you said!
yes, but I wasn't expecting you to turn that against me.
Just repeat it back to you. This is what you said in court. I'm the king of transitions. You imagine like when we're in kangaroo court in 10 or 15 years in the gulags and you're just like, this kid said that he was the king of transition, but he never helped anyone transition. How dare you? How dare you plead like not guilty? Oh, he said he's not guilty, so let him go.
Yeah. By the way, thought you all should know. This man swore an oath to the king on a Bible. Anyway, yes, that was a turn reference.
That's funny. You should do more funny voices. You also should quote Frollo more often. I'm just saying.
I'm about to quote Yzma.
Do
Why
it.
me? Why me? Why?
Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Woo! Well, I think we should stop on that high note because that landed very well.
Yeah, that did. But you had a story behind that, and unfortunately, I have to call the last episode we tried to record. I'm going to call that a botched episode. But
Oh,
you
we're cutting it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
What? That was our special. That was our special.
In all my editing.
Will you stop interrupting me while I'm interrupting
You're interrupting
you?
me. Anyway,
Traditional reference.
but out of that whole like hour of recording we had, I edited down to like 20 minutes.
That's okay. That's fine. We filmed it. You have to post it.
I'll think about it. But anyway, you had an interesting story.
I swear. I believe in that God. I swear by the gods I don't believe in. You better post that episode.
Well,
I swear by my sacred untainted left hand, I will smite thee down if you do not post
from
that
1,000
episode,
miles
Mike.
away.
I'll walk.
Anyway, but in case I don't, you had an interesting story behind your new attire.
Which everyone would know about if you'd posted this episode.
Will you just get to the story?
No, because you have to post the episode. We went like an hour of this whole podcast talking about like absurd nonsense, which was literally the Oscars in a nutshell, and me pulling like 32 improv jokes out of my butt, and most of them landing, by the way. And here I am doing this, and you're saying, Benks, we should really talk about your family heritage and your Scottish attire. By the way, I totally edited most of it out in the previous episode. I'm like, thanks, Mike.
I edited,
Thank you.
I edited a lot of the dead air.
Okay. So post the episode then. It should be perfect. It's just like 20 minutes of ripe gold. Post that. And you have to keep our discussion of you not posting that episode is going to be in the show. I swear by my righteous left hand.
Only because we have nothing left, nothing else to fill it.
That's why it's hilarious. Okay, take some of this show and like hard cut some of this into it.
Anyway, here's the story behind his family attire.
I'll tell you the story about this. So, this is a very special gift from my birthday. I got from my friend Devin. He's heavily Scottish and Irish, and my friend Jason, he is heavily Scottish and Irish. And I don't know what percent I am certainly right off the bat, but what I do know is that my family name on my mom's side, her grandfather, or correction, my mom's mom, so my grandmother's grandfather, their name went back to Bammon. Bammon comes from the name Banold, which is a surname which basically means a Scotsman or an Irishman that can't read. And that name, you trace that back, goes back to Clan McAllister in Scotland. And so what my friend Devin did is that he found this out and he said, not only am I going to get you a family crest that has your family what's the phrase? Your family motto on it, which I believe it's for teachers, which means boldly, which that basically sums up my life. Is not only am I going to get you that to wear with your tactical kilt, I'm also going to get you a scarf, or you basically your clan tartan on it. And it's kind of funny, Mike, when you see something and you just feel an affinity for it, like it just feels like home. For whatever reason, you can't put your finger on why, but this feels like home. So I told Devin, I said, this is my favorite gift I've ever received from anyone because it was so meaningful to me. And then he told me a little bit more about the history of the McAllisters from, I believe it was in the 18th century, the Battle of Culloden, I believe it was, if I recall correctly. Culloden, thank you. And what had happened is that Clan McAllister didn't support the rebels, the Scottish and Irish rebels, and except seven of them did. So the most of the clan didn't support them. 7 of them did, and they fought there. And I guess the clan was split. They were on both sides, either the loyalists to the crown, or they were part of the rebellion. So needless to say, they went on to take the leader of the rebellion. And keep him, they wanted to protect him from the British after the battle was fought. The McAllisters have an abbey, and I believe they have a castle. I don't know where. I'm still kind of researching it right now, but there's a lot of history there. And then after the battle, they actually went to Holland, which might have explained how, from that point forward, how they kind of got to, Germany. in southern Germany and Switzerland, which is where the other side of my family comes from. So it's really interesting stuff, and I'm the more I learn about it, I'm all the more proud of it. So I'll probably be wearing this moving forward.
Well, that certainly is interesting, and my wife's gonna love you because you're basically Outlander. There we go. Everybody wins, and by now we are actually starting to run low
Except
on
the
time.
Scots. Oh, the Scots always lose.
My boy, and you know who you are. You're gonna need to add 2 RBF slots on the
Cool.
bingo cards.
You should just like switch out the sound effect used for bleeping me out. Just start using like a truck noise. Boop.
I might actually do that.
Or you can take this. You know that episode of SpongeBob where they have the swear words in there.
I actually don't watch SpongeBob. I just get what I get from pop culture references.
Okay. They had an episode where they swore a lot, but they bleeped it all out with really funny sound effects. So look that up. It's really funny. Anyway,
show me after the show.
Okay. That's fine. I will.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Great. Do I sound like... Okay.
No,
great.
you sound like Ben
All right.
Shapiro.
Okay. Take that, libtards.
Anyway, we are starting to... Will you just let me speak?
No, I'm Ben Shapiro. I only like it down.
Well, shut up.
Then shut up. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyway, we are starting to run low on time. So, Mr. Benks, your Roman quote, please.
So I have a confession to make. It was a Roman quote when we started filming the show, and in the process of filming it, it changed into a different quote. So here's Francis Bacon. Man prefers to believe what he prefers to be true. Amen. By the way, fun fact, do you know Francis Bacon actually had an affair with Aunt Jemima?
This I did not know, but I will have to confirm it.
Please do. Because Aunt Jemima is a brand of pancakes.
Yes, I'm well aware of this, or at least it was.
And you want to know what their child, who he went on to be?
Don't say Uncle Ben.
Pope Benedict.
Oh.
You should please cut the show right as soon as I say that.
Anyway.
Please. I'm begging you, please.
Okay. So anyway, we are out of time. So thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Pretty, please.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, please and thank you.
De la vie. Por
and-
favor.
Well, there goes that train of thought right down the flippin' viaduct.
It's controlled chaos this episode, Mike.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys. So again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check us out on our podcast platforms. I almost forgot of Anchor, Spotify, Google Casts, Pocket Casts, and there's one more I am forgetting.
Spotify.
I already said Spotify.
Okay, let me just add that on. Okay, so Spotify. What else do we have? Are we on BitChute?
What?
Are we on BitChute?
No.
Okay, I'll scratch that. So we have 5. What's the next one? Did we say YouTube?
Yes. Well,
crap.
Obviously, they're probably watching on YouTube.
Oh, they probably are. Let me put that one
dunce.
back. Put that one back.
Anyway. Also check us out on Facebook and
Facebook.
Parlor.
Have we not gotten banned on Facebook yet?
Surprisingly, no.
Well, geez, we have to do a Facebook banning speed run at this point, Mike. We're on.
That's going to be
Speed
an
run,
interesting one to tell the wife.
Speed run, no hacks, no cheat, any percent. How long it takes Benks to get us banned on Facebook, and then I say the N word 5 seconds, and then it's banned.
If you do that, I will personally come to Minnesota and slap you silly. Well, sillier.
I swear by my righteous left hand that I will come 1,000 miles and slap you silly, sir.
Well,
Yes, sir.
sillier. But in any case, we love you guys. PAX ET BONUM.
Hey folks, if you like our podcast, be sure to check us out on Facebook and also check us out on our podcast platforms, namely Anchor, Spotify, Google Cast, and others you can also find on Anchor. God bless.